Today, nations are on heightened alert as swine flu cases spread. But how is the White House reacting? With that story and more, from Washington, our CNN Deputy Political Director, Paul Steinhauser, joins us. Good morning, Paul. Hope you had a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, I did, Melissa. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Nice to see you again. It's really a scientific mystery today, but of course, health organizations across the globe are trying to figure out exactly what swine flu is. We're also hearing from the Obama administration this morning. The president was participating in a scientific address this morning before the National Academy of Sciences, talking about health and talking about the need to have people with skills in mathematics and skills in science. And then he spoke about swine flu. He wanted to share with our viewers what he had to say, and then we'll talk at the other end of this.
We are closely monitoring the emerging cases of swine flu in the United States. And this is obviously a cause for concern and requires a heightened state of alert. But it's not a cause for alarm. The Department of Health and Human Services has declared a public health emergency as a precautionary tool to ensure that we have the resources we need at our disposal to respond quickly and effectively. I'm getting regular updates on the situation from the responsible agencies and the Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Centers for Disease Control, will be offering regular updates to the American people. The Secretary Napolitano will be offering regular updates to the American people as well, so that they know what steps are being taken and what steps they may need to take.
So that was President Obama this morning, and the president mentioned Janet Napolitano. She is the Homeland Security Secretary. That's interesting in and of itself that she was heading the news conference yesterday.
Yeah, and this is where there's some criticism of the Obama administration right here, because as they're dealing with this situation, with this outbreak of swine flu, they do not have a Health and Human Services Secretary yet. Not Janet Napolitano, I'm sorry. Kathleen Sebelius is yet to be confirmed. Hopefully the Congress does that, the Senate does that tomorrow. There's also about 15 or 20 other top positions at Health and Human Services that have yet to be filled. You don't have a CDC director, you have an acting director, but you don't have somebody new put in by the Obama administration. Same thing over at Food and Drug Administration and Surgeon General. So there's some criticism. Is the Obama administration missing some key players? Well, I think that's one of the reasons they had that impromptu news conference yesterday. Usually the White House doesn't have such things on a weekend, but Robert Gibbs, the White House press secretary, was asked about whether there are some people missing that need to be there. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I want to be very clear here. There is a team in place. The team is, part of it is standing behind me, and part of it is working as we speak to identify exactly what the doctor and others have talked about. I think this notion somehow that if there's not currently a secretary, that there's not the function that needs to take place in order to prepare for either this or any other situation is just simply not the case.
And this is a similar criticism we heard earlier this year when the administration was first starting, Melissa. Remember when the economy, such a mess, obviously. Timothy Geithner had not been confirmed as Treasury Secretary, and there was some other top positions at Treasury that were vacant. So we heard that criticism then. But now we're almost 100 days in the administration, and people expect them to have their key players in place, and they're not.
It's 98 days today. We've got 100 on Wednesday, and it's been a busy 100 days. And I know we're so curious about gauging sentiment, gauging how Americans feel about the job of the Obama administration. And I should also mention that coming up on Wednesday, we're dedicating the evening to analyzing the Obama administration and essentially creating a report card.
Yes, a national report card. But I guess right now, before we do that on Wednesday, which is going to be terrific, but before we do that, the best way, I guess, to gauge how Americans feel about the president is to take a look at the approval ratings. And what we have here is the CNN poll of polls. We average out the three most recent national polls, and you can see right here that about 2 out of 3 Americans, 66%, approve of the job Barack Obama is doing, how he's handling his duties as president. 27% disapprove. The president has been in the 60s pretty much when it comes to his approval rating since he was inaugurated back in January, so it's a pretty consistent number. Most Americans right now, and it's still early, we're only in day 98, but right now most Americans like the job he's doing, Melissa.
And Bill Clinton back on the campaign trail. It's a very small network with the Clinton family and those who have supported them. I mean, it's a large network, but there are some that are very core to that network. And that gentleman is Mr. Terry McAuliffe, who was so very busy for Hillary Clinton in her bid for the presidency, and now he's running himself.
Yeah, he's running himself, and we're seeing Bill Clinton back in the campaign trail. I remember last year we saw him out there so much during the primaries, pushing for his wife. Now he's going to be out again today for Terry McAuliffe. As you mentioned, McAuliffe is no stranger to Bill Clinton. They go way back. McAuliffe was a key player in the two presidential runs for Bill Clinton in 92 and 96, and Bill Clinton installed him as McAuliffe as chairman of the Democratic National Party. Now Terry McAuliffe is running for governor of Virginia. He's up against two other Democrats in the primaries, and today, for the first time, President Clinton, I guess, is going to be returning the favor in a way. He'll be campaigning with McAuliffe in Roanoke and also in Richmond, and we're going to send some crews down there to cover it and see what happens.
And it's also an interesting year in terms of getting money if you are running, as Terry McAuliffe is, for governor, because this is, of course, a non-presidential year.
Exactly. And McAuliffe has raised a lot of money so far because he's got this network, but there's some criticism that a lot of this money is coming from people outside of Virginia. But you know what? Money's money, and he's going to take what he gets.
Deputy Political Director Paul Steinhauser from Washington. Paul, thank you.
Thank you.